You did it. You actually did it. You planted one of those giant sunflowers, a mammoth or a titan, and you grew a monster. It is the absolute pride of your garden, isn't it? Just towering over everything else. But I bet you're starting to get a little nervous right about now.
Yeah, because that amazing, beautiful head, the very symbol of your gardening success, is starting to droop. And that's the worry, right? That gentle little nod can turn into a full-on snap and bring your entire masterpiece crashing right down to the ground.
Okay, so let's get into the why. A single mature sunflower head can weigh anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds. But here's the crazy part. After a heavy rain, that head acts like a giant sponge. It can literally soak up enough water to double its weight. I mean, that is a huge amount of stress for just one stem to handle.
It's a story every gardener knows. You watch your 12-foot champion grow, and you're just beaming with pride. And then you walk outside one morning and see its massive head bent over at this really alarming angle. And just like that, victory starts to feel a lot like panic. And this is the irony of the whole situation. The bigger and more beautiful that head gets, the more packed with seeds it is, well, the heavier it becomes. The very thing you worked so hard for is now putting the entire plant completely at risk.
So the very first thing we have to do is play detective. We need to figure out, is your sunflower just doing a natural, healthy nod, or is it in the danger zone? And it's super important to know the difference, because not all drooping is a disaster waiting to happen.
Okay, a natural nod is just a gentle, healthy curve. Sunflowers actually do this on purpose. It helps protect the seeds from getting sunburned and keeps them from rotting. But the danger zone, that's a sharp 90-degree bend. You might even see a crease or a crack in the stem. If you see that, that's an emergency. Time to act now.
Right. If you are in that danger zone, it's time to perform some emergency surgery. This is what you do when that stem is already cracking or it's bent really sharply. So let's get our little surgical kit together.
And here's the great news. You don't need anything fancy for this. Your surgical kit is probably stuff you already have lying around. We're talking a couple of flat splints, paint stirrers are perfect for this, and some really strong tape, like duct tape. That's it.
Okay, here's the procedure. First, you're going to gently, and I mean gently, lift the head just enough to take that immediate pressure off. Don't try to force it straight again. Then, you'll place a splint on each side of the break. Finally, wrap it all up tightly with your tape. Think of it like you're putting a cast on a broken arm. You're just giving that stem the support it needs to finish the job.
Now that was the emergency room fix. Let's talk about prevention, so you can avoid that whole panic attack in the first place. Honestly, if you're growing these giants, you should be staking them before they even think about leaning.
Proper staking is absolutely key. Get a tall, sturdy stake and drive it deep into the ground, about 4 inches away from the stem. Now this next part is so important. What you tie it with. Never, ever use thin wire. It'll just slice right into the stem as it grows. You have to use soft ties, like old strips of cloth. And make sure your highest tie is way up there, as close to the flower head as you can get, to support that really vulnerable neck area. But what if the stem is strong? You've staked it perfectly, but the head itself is just too massive for its own good. I mean, for these really extreme cases, we have to support the head directly. And for that, we have an amazing little gardener's secret. That's right, an old pair of pantyhose. I know it sounds a little strange, but stick with me here. This is a classic, time-tested trick that provides the absolute best support for a ridiculously heavy sunflower head. So here's how you build this head hammock. You take a pair of pantyhose, or even one of those mesh bags onions come in. You gently slip the sunflower head inside of it, then you just tie the open end to your big support stake, or maybe even a nearby fence post. The stretchy fabric creates this perfect, gentle hammock that just cradles the head and takes all that weight off the stem. And here's the fantastic bonus. This little hammock doesn't just hold the weight, it also acts as a perfect barrier, protecting all those delicious seeds from birds and squirrels that are just waiting to swoop in and steal your harvest. So it's support and security all in one. You know, sometimes, even with all your best efforts, you just have to make a strategic choice. Let's say a huge storm is rolling in, and you just know the plant isn't going to make it. It's way better to harvest a little early than to lose everything.
So how do you know if it's ready? How do you make that call? Well, lucky for us, the plant gives a really clear signal.
Here's the last piece of the puzzle. Just turn the flower head around and look at the back of it. If it's still green, you're too early. The seeds aren't mature yet. But if it has turned yellow or even brown, that's your green light. The seeds are ready.
You can cut the stalk, leave about a foot of it attached, and then just hang it upside down in a dry place, like your garage, to finish ripening safely inside.
So really, here's the bottom line. Growing a giant sunflower is basically a battle against physics. But with a little planning, a good stake, and maybe an old pair of pantyhose, you don't have to lose that fight. You can make sure your amazing giant holds its head high all the way to harvest day. So go on, don't let gravity steal your glory.